Hello everyone. In this video I will explain the concept of percent and we will do some problems related to percentage. So when we think about percent, so what really is a percent? Percent word comes from the word century. So percent means per century and century is 100. So per 100. So when I say 15%, it means I'm talking about a special decimal fraction per hundredth. So 15% means 15 per 100, and in other words we can say that 15 out of 100. Similarly, if you have 2%, that means 2 out of 100. If we have 367%, that means 367 divided by 100. So that is our percent. And we can write a number in different forms. We can change between the forms. So if you have a percentage, for example, let's say we have 136%, we can change this percentage into decimal. So in order to change the percent into decimal, what we do is we move the decimal 2 places to the left. So for a whole number, the decimal is in the end. So if you want to remove the percentage sign, so you're going to move the decimal 2 places to the left. So it will become 1.36. Or you can think of this as you're dividing with 100%. Sign means per 100. And when you divide 136 with 100, we get 1.36 as well. So the answer will be 1.36. Okay, take a moment and think about what would be 8% in decimal form. So we'll do the same thing. Divide 8 with 100 or move the decimal 2 places to the left. So in this case, when the decimal is here, you're going to move 2 places to the left and it's going to move here. So we need a placeholder here. So 8 divided by 100, so that will become 0.08. Or you can write it as 0.08. Similarly, if we have 25.5%, so you're going to move your decimal 2 places to the left, so it will become 0.255 or 0.255. And that's how we convert a percent into decimal. Let's say we're gonna do the opposite now. So we're gonna go from decimal to percent. So earlier you were moving 2 places to the left and you were dividing. Now we're gonna do the opposite. So opposite of division is multiplication. So we're gonna move the decimal 2 places to the right and we're gonna add the percentage sign. So earlier we removed the percentage sign. So for example, if we have something like 0.573, so this is the decimal form of a number. If you want to write this as a percent, you have to multiply with 100 and add the percentage sign. So you're going to move the decimal 2 places to the right. So in this case, the answer would be 57.3%. So we are multiplying with 100 and adding the percentage sign. Okay, think about what would be the percentage of 0.053. What is the percentage form? So this is a decimal form. If you want to write this as a percent, again you're going to move your decimal 2 places to the right, so it will become 5.3%. If you have 10.6 in decimal form, so that really means again move your decimal 2 places to the right and remember here only one place and you need one more, so you're gonna add 0 for the placeholder, so it will become 1060%. So we are basically multiplying with 100 and adding the percentage sign. Alright, so next we can also write a percent into a fraction. So what we can do is, in order to change a percent into a fraction, you can first change to a decimal form. So if you want to go from a percentage form to a fraction form, and if you can do it directly, so first change the percent into decimal and then change into fraction. So for example, since we know that 18.4%, so in the decimal form it would be, so divide by 100, percentage sign means divide by 100, so per 100, so 0.184, and in the decimal form it is this, and in the fraction form, so when we're going to convert this decimal into fraction form, so we put 1 in place of decimal, and then we write the number of zeros as we have. How many digits you have after the decimal, you're going to put those many zeros. So here we have 3 digits after the decimal, so it's going to be 184 over 1000. And then you have to reduce it into the simplest form. So if there is a common factor, you can divide with that. So you can start with the smallest if you want. So 184 and 1000, they both are even numbers, so it means 2 is a common factor, so I can divide by 2 on the top, divide by 2 on the bottom, so we will get 92 divided by 500, and we're gonna keep reducing further until we can't go anymore. So again even, so again you can divide by 2 and we get 46 over 250. And if you recognize that it goes with a bigger number like 4 or 6 or 8 or 7 or whatever, you can use that bigger number in one step. And again divide by 2, so we get 23 over 125. And these guys don't have anything in common, so we can leave it there. Alright, so take a moment, pause your video and try to do this question yourself. So try to convert this percentage into a fraction. So first we convert into decimal, so that means you divide by 100. So basically this becomes 60, and remember, so we put 1 in place of the decimal and then we count how many digits are following the decimal. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. So that is our fraction, but we have to simplify it as much as we can. So I recognize they both are multiple of 20. So I'm going to divide by 20 on the top, divide by 20 on the bottom. So I'm going to get this in the end. So in case you guys are wondering, so I did division by 20 in one step. So you can divide by 10, then divide by 2. So do whatever is easier for you. Alright, so next we have change a fraction into percent. So it means now we're going to go the other way around. So we're going to follow this path. So first we're going to go fraction to decimal, then decimal to percent. So for example, if you have this fraction 3 over 8 and you want to change this into percent, so first you can use your calculator. 3/8. So you know that in the decimal form it is this. And then how we go from decimal to percent? We did it earlier. So we multiply by 100. So it means I'm going to multiply by 100 means I'm going to move my decimal 2 places to the right and add a percentage sign. Convert 5/4 into percentage form. Again, first change into decimal form and then move your decimal 2 places to the right or multiply by 100. So that is 125%. So you can write a number in different forms, in percentage form, in decimal form, or in fraction form. Next, we're going to talk about percentage formula. So this is the formula that we're going to use in the questions. The formula is that the percentage amount is rate times total. So in the small short form, you can write amount is rate times total. So rate is the percentage. In this formula, rate is the percentage, but we express that as decimal always. Base or total is the total quantity you start with, and percentage amount is a fraction of total. So for example, if I say 25% of 200, think of this, 25% of 200. So in this case, according to the formula, if you wanna understand the quantities, so the rate is the percentage, but we're gonna write that as decimal form. So 25% in the decimal form is 0.25, and the total amount is 200, and we're trying to figure out what is 25% of 200. It means you're looking for the amount, percentage amount. And if we plug in everything in the formula, so amount is rate times T, so 25% times total, so the answer is 50. So you plug in the values of R and T in the formula to calculate your A. So if you know two things, you can figure out the third thing. So A equals to RT, amount equals to rate times total. And when we do the word problems, we have to be careful about our notations. So for examples, if a question is saying something is made of 3 ingredients A, B, C, so you can assign your variables. So for example, RA here will stand for rate of part A, RB will be rate of part B, RC will be rate of part C, and similarly AA will be amount of part A, and so on. And in the questions, if you see a number with percentage sign, that will be more likely your rate. I'll give some hints. If you see a number with percentage sign, it's most likely the rate. And don't forget to change your rate to decimal for the calculations. While using the formula. So don't forget to change the rate to decimal form. For the calculations. And sometimes people don't know how to use the different forms of the formula. For example, so we have this formula A equals to RT, and if you know two things, you can find the third thing. So let's say I want to figure out a formula for T. So if you want to write a formula for T, it means you want T to be alone, so you can get rid of R. So divide by R on both sides. So in that case, what will happen is, so your original formula is this, and when I divide by R, so R and R gonna cancel on this side, so the formula gonna become A over R equals to T. So that's the formula for total. Total is amount over rate. So you can do your algebraic manipulation to find different forms of the formula, or you can use this triangle. It's just a way of to memorize the formula. So arc, right? So you're gonna make this triangle with one portion on the top and two parts on the bottom, and A is always in the numerator, so you can put that on the top, and you can write RT on the bottom. And then if you want a formula for A, you're not gonna highlight A, you're gonna look at the other two guys. Then the formula becomes A equals to RT. And the things that are on the same level means they have multiplication in between. And if one thing is on the top, other thing is on the bottom, then they have division in between. So if you want to write a formula for total, so forget about T, so T would be A over R. And if I want a formula for R, so it would be A over T. So that's how you can memorize the formulas if you want. So the purpose of this triangle thingy is just to memorize the different forms of formula. You don't need to use a triangle, you can just manipulate your formula. Alright, so let's try to solve some problems. So before you look at my solution, how I solve these problems, I would recommend that take few minutes and try these problems on your own. So take some time, read the problem A and B, try to do on your own, and then come back to the video. And we have to follow the instructions. On the top it says express all the answers to 3 sig figs. So we'll try to round our answers to 3 sig figs. And sometimes for the word problems, it's a good idea to draw a picture if you want. That can help you to visualize the problem. So the first problem is, a sample of metal alloy weighs 320 pounds and is composed of 35% zinc. How many pounds of zinc are in the sample? Alright, so when I read this problem, so I see the percentage sign here. So this is more likely my rate, and in the decimal form, so what I find from here, so rate is given, but I'm going to write in the decimal form. So that will be 35%, means 0.35, and total alloy is 320 pounds. It means this is my total weight of the mixture of metals, and my goal is to find how much is the zinc, how many pounds is zinc. So that's what we're trying to find. So we're trying to find the amount. Or if that doesn't make sense, you can draw your diagram. So you have a mixture of different metals, and from here they're saying 35% is zinc and rest 65% is the other metals, and our goal is to find what is the amount of zinc. So that's what we're gonna find. And also we are given that the total is 320 pounds. Okay, so since we know our formula ART, right? So A equals to RT. So if you're finding the zinc, so rate of the zinc and total. So in this case, rate of the zinc is 35%, of total is 320 pounds, and when we multiply these guys, we get 112 pounds as our answer. So that is the amount of zinc in this case. All right, try part B. And it's very important that you read all the words carefully. So in this question, so if we look at the first part, a 256 gigabyte hard drive on a computer has 74 gig free. All right, so you have some space on a hard drive, and they're saying the total space is 256 gigs and 74 is free, so we have some free space, and we have some used space. So if 74 is free, it means the used will be, amount used is 256, whatever is the leftover, right? So minus 74, so that's 184. So I just drew the question so that it's easier to see the info. So this is the amount free, this is the amount used, and our goal is to figure out what percent of hard drive is currently being used. And always pay attention. So this, here we were given what is the free amount, but they're asking what percentage is being used. So we need to focus on percentage of used. So these are the numbers we're going to work with. So, and since you're trying to figure out what percentage, it means you're trying to find the rate. So what rate is being used. And our original formula is A equals to RT, but this time we need the formula for R. So R is A over T. So that's the formula we're going to use. So since we know that rate is amount over total, you can use the triangle trick if you don't know how to memorize the formula. So create your triangle and then write art, and your goal is to find R. That means you're gonna do A over T, and we are interested in rate of how much is being used, not free. So we're gonna write amount used divided by total. So out of 256 gig, we are using 184 gig. So it means In decimal form, answer is 0.711, but in 3 sig figs, in percentage form, so we're gonna multiply with 100 and we're gonna add the percentage sign. So 71.1% is being used currently. So that's part 1 of the question. So we are done with half of this. Then there is another part. So now they're saying if additional 128 gigabyte is added. Okay, so it's the same scenario, but now what we did is, earlier we had some empty space. Okay, so this is what we had before. The box we have up there. So we had some free space, which was 74, and then we had some used space, which was 184 gig. Now they're saying we have added some more space, which is 128 gigabyte. So our total is different now. What percent of the total hard drive is being used? So again, they're asking what percent is being used, but here we have to pay attention that in this case, the amount used is still, oh, I'm sorry, it was 182 here. I made a mistake. So amount used is still 182. And we have more free amount now. So free amount is 74 plus 128. But they're not asking what percentage is free. So they're just asking what percentage is being used now. So the difference is now, since our total is changed, the new total is, so whatever your old total plus 128. So our new total is 384 gigabyte. So now new total is 384 gigabytes, and we still want to figure out the rate of new used. So new rate of being used is the amount of hard drive that is being used is amount used over the new total. So it would be 182 out of 384 gigabytes are being used. So the new percentage that is being used is 47.4%. So the decimal you can convert into percentage by multiplying with 100. I hope that makes sense. So we had two parts of this question. So we will have some similar problems in the homework assignment on Mobius. Alright, so we'll do a few more word problems. You guys can try part C. How many grams of a 14% saline solution can be made with 55 grams of salt? Okay, so if you're wondering about the solution, that's just a mixture of salt and water. So 14% solution means 14% is salt and rest is the water. 86% is the water. And they're saying how many grams of 14% solution can be made with 55 grams of salt. So this is the situation. So you have a mixture of salt and water, and they're telling us that in this mixture salt is only 14% and rest 86% is the water. And the amount of salt that they are using is 55 gram. So what is the total amount of solution that we can make? So our goal is to find the total. And since we know that, remember, amount is rate times total, and we are trying to look for total in this case. So A over R. Total will be amount over rate. So in this case, amount of salt is 55 grams. Rate is 14%, but you're going to write in the decimal form, so 0.14. So do not divide by 14, divide by 0.14, 14% in decimal form. And then if you use your calculator will show something like this. And you can store this value in your calculator if your calculator has store features. And then if we want to give our answer in 3 sig figs, so we have to round to 3 sig figs. So 392.86 can be rounded to 393, and always write units with your answer. So 393 grams is the total amount of solution. So that's first part of the question. Let's take a look at the second part of the question. So they're saying in this original solution, so this is very similar to last question. So you had the same solution. Earlier you had 14% salt and rest was water, but now you are adding additional 100 grams of water. What is the new percentage of salt? So I'm adding more water, additional 100 gram. So originally the amount of salt was 55 gram, and in the previous question, previous part, we figured out that this total, the total solution was 393 grams. When you're using in the next part, so you can use the intermediate, like you can use the unrounded values. Do not use the rounded value. So you don't want too much rounding error in your final answer. So now this is your old total in the part 1, but as we can see, since we have added 100 grams more, so we have now this new total. So the new total is old total plus 100, so it's going to be 492.86 gram. And our goal is to figure out what is the new percentage of saline solution. So what is the new rate? So new rate is amount over new total. So amount of salt over new total. So amount of salt is still the same, 55 gram, because there is no additional salt is added, only the water was more. So now the new total was 492.86, and when we use the calculator, so we find 0.1116. So in decimal form, or sorry, in percentage form, it will be 11.16%. But since we want to round to 3 sig figs, so it will be 11.2% in 3 sig figs. So that is the new rate of saline. So I have rounded to 3 sig figs. So we have one more question on percentage. You guys can try it out. Alright, so this is the last question for this section, I believe. So take a moment, read the question and try to do it in your way first. So just remember, each math problem can be done in many different ways. So whatever method you already know, feel free to use that. You don't have to copy exact same method that I am doing. As long as your work is correct, you will get the full marks for your work. Alright, so try the next question. You can pause the video and then come back to see my solution. Alright, so in this question, a textbook had 2 discounts in a row applied to it. The first discount was 10% and second discount was 15%. What would be the equivalent single discount, or you can say equivalent single like percentage discount if the book is the original price is $135? Okay, so this is a similar scenario when you go to a store and then you see some stores say the discount is 50% plus 20%. They don't say it's a 70%. This is not equal to 70%. The reason is, so first you have 50% discount on the original price, and then once you apply that, so then you get a new price, then 20% discount is applied on new price. So it's not 70, it's less than 70 overall. So same situation here. So we have 10% plus 15%. Answer is not 25%. Okay, so we're gonna try to do one step at a time. So as I said, that's one way of doing it. So since the first discount is 10% and we are applying on the original price of the book, which is 135. So let's first see what is the price after first discount. So first we will figure out price of the book after first discount. And if you wanna see the situation visually, so you have a book and the original price is, the original total is 135, and we are trying to figure out what is the amount paid after first discount. And we do have some discount, so discounted amount is, discount is 10%. It means if there is 10% discount, we paid 90% of the original cost. So we can figure out the amount paid after first discount. So our goal is to find what is the amount paid if we apply 10%. So amount paid would be A is equal to RT. So 90% of the total, that's the cost after first discount. So 90% of 135 is 121.50. So that's the price after first discount. So now this side there is a second discount which is 15%. So it is applied on, not on 135. So this is applied on the new price which is after first discount. So now we're gonna figure out, okay, so if we apply 15% on this price, what is the next amount that we pay? Okay, so price after second discount. So second discount is applied on already reduced amount, which we found in the first step. So again, situation is similar. So now your new price is, or you can say the adjusted price is 121.5, and you are getting a discount of 15%. That means you're paying 85% of this cost. So amount paid is, in this situation, the new amount paid is rate times total. So 85% of new total, which is 121.50, and 103.28. So this is the final price after 2 discounts. But they're asking us to find what is a single equivalent discount. Like if we have to just give 1% instead of 10% and then 15%, if you just have to say this much percentage is off, so if you have to give a single percentage, so a single equivalent discount would be, we can figure that out. As I said, it's not 25%. So now if we look at the situation, this is what we have. So we had a book whose original cost was 135. So this was the total cost. And now we know that the amount paid is, the final amount paid that we found in the previous step is, after 2 discounts, it's 103.28. It means the discount amount is, how many dollars we saved is, so from 135 you can subtract the final amount paid, and these many dollars we saved, 31.72. And our goal is to find single discount percentage. So rate of discount is total amount of discount out of total. So remember, R equals to A over T. So the discount was $31.72, and original total was 135. And in the decimal form, you're gonna get this in 3 sig figs, 0.235. So it means in percentage. So the single equivalent discount is 23.5%. in 3 sig figs. If you have other method of doing this question, please do that. There is a shortcut too, where you multiply 0.90 and then 0.85 together, and you can figure it out. Alright, so that is our unit 1.1. So I'll end this video here.